Most people think of ADHD, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, as a child's issue, and in particular a boy's issue. And the truth couldn't be more different. In fact, a lot of adults can wrestle with ADHD, ADD type symptoms, or ADHD itself. Some statistics show as many as 3 to 5% of the American population are adults with ADD, ADHD. And we just don't think of it that way because a lot of the misconceptions that surround ADD and ADHD. Unfortunately, ADHD and ADD are one of the most commonly misdiagnosed or overdiagnosed conditions, particularly for kids, but also for adults. Depression, particularly in boys, can be misdiagnosed as ADHD. Anxiety for both boys and girls can often be misdiagnosed as ADHD. Just because a child has what we stereotype as the hyper behavior does not mean necessarily that that child has ADD or ADHD. A lot of times you got to stop and look, okay, is the behavior of my child age appropriate? A 3-year-old, it's not natural for them to sit and maintain attention through an hour-and-a-half movie, even if it's a cartoon. That is an age-appropriate response to be distracted during that. So to have a little bit more realistic expectation of what's going on, sometimes it is just the personality and the energy level of the kid, but getting a consultation at the least by someone who specializes in or has a lot of experience working with ADHD, particularly in kids, can be very beneficial. And here at the Nick Finnegan Counseling Center, we're aware of some of these other issues and work with these other issues that could be misconstrued for ADHD. One in particular is our center director, Amy Burchell. She works very well with kids and has a lot of background in helping ferret out what exactly might be going on for this child. And yes, sometimes it is true ADHD, but sometimes there is something else going on in the child's environment, in the child's emotional experiences that could better account for some of the behavior. One of my favorite descriptions of ADHD comes from a theorist who kind of compares and believes that there are 6 types of ADD, ADHD, not just the hyper, but he compares them to the characters from Winnie the Pooh. So the quintessential idea is Tigger, who's bouncing all over the place and going a myriad of different directions, bouncing off the walls, when in fact Eeyore is a potential type of ADD, ADHD. That morose, it could look like depression, unable to focus, unable to motivate, unable to get going, unable to complete. Rabbit is one of my favorite ones, that kind of nervous ADD, ADHD, and then easily distracted like Winnie the Pooh. You know, you start off over here and then all of a sudden you're thinking about honey, and then you go over here, but the energy level's just kind of flat, but the brain is going all these different ways. So that seems to really click with some of the parents that I work with when we talk about the different types of Winnie the Pooh characters. It can be a really helpful thing. Now for adults, ADHD isn't something that shows up in adulthood. It's something that, looking back, you've got to see, yes, I had those symptoms as a child. If something is showing up in adulthood as new behavior, distractedness, forgetfulness, mindfulness, if those issues are showing up, often that's more related to anxiety. And that's some of the things that our experience and our background here at the Nick Finnegan Counseling Center help us to help you figure out what's really going on, because we don't want to misdiagnose, we don't want to mistreat. And there's lots of different ways to handle ADHD, both in kids and in adults, other than just medicine. So we can help you learn some of the things that you can better help your child with: diet, exercise, different ways of helping them set up their homework, different ways of doing behavioral things, changing the environment of the home that can help the child learn better coping skills, better management skills, and we can do that for adults as well. It's not always having to be medicine, and it doesn't always have to be ADHD.